Hi guys, and welcome to Blackpack Homestead. Today we are going to dehydrate the cherry tomato haul. Some of these, they're not all cherries, some of these are like saladette sized tomatoes that were supposed to be like slicer size, and evidently the plant was stunted or something, but they still taste great. They're sweet, just as sweet as any Mr. Stripey tomato I've ever had. So we're going to cut these. I may quarter these. So we're going to slice the black cherries in half, and we're going to, any of the ones that are this size, and any of the ones that are this size, I'm probably going to quarter, and then I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of pink Himalayan salt over them before I put them into the dehydrator. Now, yeah, that's the cherry tomato haul from today. I'll show you the slicer haul. I'll insert it here. This is the slicer harvest today. Got a lot of Cherokee purples, those little yellow Mr. Stripeys, some cherries. I gotta go back and pick the purple cherries, and a green one fell off. There's the slicer haul today. Tomato season has begun. I didn't show me picking these, because how many times can you watch me pick a tomato? You've seen me pick tomatoes so many times. Anna Molly, you bad dog, you gotta go in. Go in. You can't stay in the yard, you gotta go in. She pushes this pole aside, and we've got to work on it. She's such a brat, nitty-gritty baby, but I love her. Okay, anyway, so I didn't think you really wanted to watch me pick more tomatoes, so I picked them all and showed you what I got, and now we're going to dehydrate them. The dehydrator we have is an Excalibur, and it is the 9 tray, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, it's the 9 tray. And it works like a champ. We got it last year, and we dehydrated watermelon, we dehydrated greens in here to make a dried mixed greens blend to put in soups and stuff over the winter. And this is going to be my first dehydrating project this summer, which is one of my favorite things to dehydrate cherry tomatoes. So I'm going to go inside, and we're going to slice these bad boys up and lay them on these trays and slap them in here. We're going to let them dehydrate at 135 degrees Fahrenheit or 57 degrees Celsius for 24 hours, which is why it's out here on my porch. When we used this last year inside, it heated our house up so much, it was ridiculous. So I've saw a lot of folks, just moving them outside, and we've got an outdoor plug, so yeah, this is where they're going to dehydrate. So now, let's go inside and slice up some tomatoes. Okay guys, now we're in the kitchen, and as you can see, I have already started slicing up the cherry tomatoes, and I've got one tray in the dehydrator already. This is the second tray. And I mean, it's really cut and dry, very simple. It's not rocket science. You take a ripe cherry tomato, ta-da, and you slice it in half, like this. Wow! And then you put it on the tray, like that. Yeah. So, yep, this is not rocket science by any means, folks. Just slice them in half. Well, shoot, I kind of mangled that one. That just means I get to eat some of it. Just slice the cherries in half, put on the tray. Simple Simon. Now I'm just going to take some Himalayan salt out of our little salt cellar here. Pink Himalayan salt, and I'm just going to sprinkle, just a little sprinkle, just a little dabble do ya, of salt on these lovely cherry tomatoes. Where'd the salt go? There it is. So then we get our pink salt, which I need to refill, and then we just sprinkle a little dab on each little tomato. I like pink Himalayan salt because it has a lot of other minerals. I think it has like 84 some odd other minerals that aren't found in white salt. And since I'm like deficient in like everything, I figured eating those minerals is bound to be good for me. So, and plus I love it. It's got a great flavor. It's just a good salt. I enjoy it. So I'm going to keep doing this till I've got them all sprinkled. Okay? Now that they're all sprinkled up, I'm going to carry this tray to the dehydrator, and then I'll start another tray. But this time I'm going to show you how I'm going to quarter these small little saladette sized yellow tomatoes. Okay? See you in a sec. Okay guys, as you can see, I've got some of the yellow saladette, smallish, bigger than a cherry tomatoes sliced up or quartered, and now I'm going to sprinkle salt on them, but I'm going to show you how I did the cut, how I quartered them. Now then, tomato. Simple Simon, just quartering a tomato. If you use a serrated knife, it usually works better when cutting tomatoes, but this little knife is super sharp, so it's a little paring knife, so it works pretty good on these. And just quarter them up like that. And then, because these tomatoes are actually supposed to be like big slicers, they've got a decent core in them, unlike a tomato designed to be a cherry tomato. So I'm just going to cut that little core out so you don't run into that hard bit while you're eating. And yeah, see, just cut it right out. Simple Simon. Easy peasy. Just go at it from the opposite end of the stem. Ta-da. Done. Yep, I'm excited about this. I've been waiting to do this since last year. So, there you go. And I've got about 2 more to do and I'll have a full tray. It's awesome. Okay guys, they're all sliced up into quarters, and now I'm going to sprinkle my pink Himalayan salt on them. And then into the dehydrator they go. Now all of the slicers that I showed you guys that I picked, what I've been doing with those is what's called coring and scoring. And you just core the big tomato. I use a melon baller and scoop the core out, and then I do an X on the bottom, and then I put them in the freezer. And then in the fall or winter time, when it is much more amiable to have a pot of tomato sauce on the stove all day, because my house would be like so hot if I did that. So I freeze them like that so I can take them out, and as they defrost, the skins just slip off just like you'd blanched them. And then I make my sauce. You just have to let it cook down and reduce, and it makes an amazing sweet sauce. So we use all of our tomatoes, and you know, it's great. We love it. Actually, we have some of it right here that we canned our last year's sauce. Yep. Okay, I think we've salted these tomatoes enough. I'm going to carry these guys outside and stick them in the dehydrator, and I'll meet you there. Okay guys, here we are at the dehydrator, and we have 1 full tray of the black cherry tomato sliced in half. We have 2 full trays of the black cherry tomato sliced in half. And then on the next tray, we have some red tomatoes, some red cherry tomatoes, some black cherry tomatoes, and some of those yellow tomatoes we just did. And then we have 1 full tray of the yellow tomatoes. So you can put them, you know, I could put more trays in, but that's all I have, and I left a larger gap because these are a little taller. You can, like, your first tray can start here and they'll be like that far apart. So I left more room because it is a tomato and it's got a little height on it. So yeah, there you go. They're all in there, and I will set this dehydrator on 135 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 57 degrees Celsius, and I will this will probably take 24 hours, but at 8 hours I'm going to come out and check it. I might even check it at 4 hours. It just depends on, you know, the humidity in the air and how quick this machine can do the job. But, you know, there's a lot of liquid in tomatoes, so it's probably going to take a good minute. So let's get this dehydrator started, and I'll bring you back when the product is finished. So I'll probably see you tomorrow when we take the tomatoes out. So let's get this thing cranked up. So the first thing you do is you put the door on, and the door just hangs on these little hooks, these little things that hangs like that, which drives me crazy because I feel like it's not on there good and it's gonna fall off. But anyway, the trick to it is putting it up here, getting it hooked in its little space, and then dropping it down like that. And then it's on there, yay. So now I'm going to show you the controllers. The settings, see, it'll tell you what temperature to do herbs, what temperature to do like fermented things like yogurt or sourdough bread. You can raise bread in it, or rise bread in it. You can make yogurt in it. I think I've already said that. Vegetables you can dehydrate. It tells you what temperature to do fruits or fruit rolls. Tomatoes are technically a fruit, which is why I'm doing that. And meat, fish, and jerky. And then here's our controller. And we're going to turn it to 135 degrees Fahrenheit or 57 degrees Celsius. So we turn it like that, and she's off. So the Excalibur dehydrator, all in all, is quite easy to use, and I like it. I think it does a great job. Chris and I went with a higher end one rather than a lower end one because we wanted a product that was going to last, and we saw a lot of good reviews on this Excalibur. So I guess I will see you when these tomatoes are dehydrated tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow. I've got to wait 24 hours. For you, it's just going to be a second. See, watch. Hi guys, it is the next day. We have our tomatoes dehydrating in our Excalibur dehydrator, and I haven't looked at them. I was asleep at 9:30 last night when it had been 8 hours since they had been on, and so I haven't looked at these. Chris says he's looked at them, but he won't tell me what they looked like. You just have to wait and see. So you and I are seeing this together. So they've been in here 22 hours. Let's see how dehydrated they are. Okay, so here's the dehydrator. Let's open her up and take a look. Oh, wow. Look at that. That is some dehydrated tomatoes. I think they're done. What do y'all think? Yep, those tomatoes are done. Let's look at these yellow tomatoes. There's the yellow ones. Yep, I believe they're done, folks. Yay! I probably could have took them out earlier this morning. Yeah, they're really dry. They're still a little squidgy. So let's give one a try. Here we go. Still kind of soft on the bottom and smushy. Maybe they could go a little longer. I don't know. I kind of like my tomatoes a little chewy. What do you think? They are delicious. Let's try one of the yellow ones. You definitely see that they have a lot of seeds, big seeds in them. I didn't like de-seed them. But yeah, let's try one of the yellow ones. I may let them go for the next 2 hours. They're not like extremely dry. They have, you know, still a little bit of a chewiness to them, which I like. Yeah, they're really good. Okay, so let's let these things dehydrate for a little bit longer. And yesterday I talked to y'all about coring and scoring my slicers and paste tomatoes. Well, I've got a few in there that need to be cored and scored. So let's turn this on and let it run for another hour, and then we'll come check them again. And meanwhile, we'll see how to core and score a slicer tomato or a paste tomato to get it ready for the freezer. Okay, so coring and scoring your tomatoes. The reason I do this is because a lot of times I'm too tired to process tomatoes into soup or sauce or whole canned peeled tomatoes or any of that, because the harvest part takes it out of me. So I don't usually get to the preserving part till like the day after. So it's easier for me to just, when I get in, just core the tomato and make an X mark on the bottom, which is the score part of the core and score, and then put them in a freezer bag like these I've got right here, and then you can take them out in the fall or when you have time to do this and it's not as hot, and then I'll take them out and make sauce with them or soup. We do use, like I said, all of our tomatoes. We don't just use the paste tomatoes for the paste. I mean, if I have enough, I'll do that. Most of the time we use just all the big slicer tomatoes, all the paste tomatoes, and put them all in one pot. And yeah, it does take a little bit longer because you've got to reduce those juicy slicers. I'll get all that liquid burned off so you have a good thick sauce or a thick soup, whichever way you're going. So I'm going to show you how I core and score. So here's my cutting board. Here's my 5 gallon? Wow, no, my gallon freezer bag. And then I just take a tomato, much like this one, And I use my melon baller. I've probably used this to core more. I think I actually bought it to core tomatoes, because if I've got melon, I'm just eating it. I ain't taking the time to make it look pretty. So here we go. I'll choose which end. If it's a smaller tomato, I'll use that end, larger tomato that end, and I will just scoop the core right out like this. Oops, there we go. I can usually do it all in one go. Slipped out that time. This tomato's really ripe. Oh, it's got a thick core. See, there you go, core. If you have any that's left down in here, you can just scoop it out like that, except I don't have any, so I don't need to do that. And then just take a sharp knife and turn your tomato on the bottom. If it has like a big old cat face spot, I'll just slice the bottom off. But since this one has just a pretty normal looking end of the tomato, I'm just going to score it. So I take my knife and a pierce and come across with that score, and a pierce and I come across with that score. And that's how you core and score a tomato before you put it in the freezer. Now when you take these out of the freezer and you start to thaw them out, this is a mortgage lifter. That's all Cherokee purples, but I wanted to leave some slicers out, so this guy's really ripe. He needs to go in the freezer. Mortgage lifter. Core and score. That one's got a little bit yuckier of a bottom, so I'll show you how I just take it off. Now, when you take these out of the freezer to make your soup, sauce, whatever you're going to make, you know, you won't be able to like have a whole peeled tomato and can it. You'll be able to make crushed tomatoes because the texture of the tomato obviously changes when it freezes. But it is a great way to preserve your tomatoes so you can wait to make that sauce when it's cooler outside or you have time. And with my health issues with my Crohn's, this is just the best way we've found not to lose a lot of our tomatoes. So yeah, now I'll zip this up and Chris will take it down to the freezer for me. This has been the year of the Cherokee purple for us. Even the cherry tomatoes, the black cherries are purpley. It's the year of the purple tomato here at the Blackpack Homestead. We have been so blessed. We had the hardest time growing Cherokee purples, like always. Like we've never successfully grown them to where we've got more than just a couple. So I plan to try making a Cherokee purple tomato soup just out of Cherokee purples. So that's what these bags are going to be used for when I take them out later on. Alright, it's been about, I don't know, 40 minutes. It's not been an hour. I doubt those tomatoes have dehydrated much more, but let's go check on them and wrap this video up. Okay folks, now that I've showed you how to core and score your tomatoes to freeze them to process them later, it's now been about an hour. So let's check on the progress of these tomatoes. I'm thinking they're going to have to go a little over 24 because they are. I got Chris to look at them, and they are a little squidgy on the bottom, you know, a little smushy still. They're not fully dry. And that's one thing about dehydrating for your food to keep over a long period of time, you know, 6-8 months, maybe a year. It needs to be fully dry, you know, with no moisture in it. And you can reconstitute these tomatoes if you're making pasta. You can put them on a salad. You can just eat them like candy, like I do, right out of the bag. Speaking of the bag, well, what I'll do when these guys are finally done, I'll put them in a Ziploc bag like this, or a mason jar. And I've got it labeled what it is and the date. And then I'll keep them, you know, in a cool, dark place in my cabinet for up to 6 months to a year. I believe it'd be good as long as they're in an airtight container. So let's check these tomatoes. There you go. These really tiny ones still have a little bit of I want to say chewiness to them, but they're still a little soft, squishy. So we're going to let them go. They've been going 23 hours at this point, so I'm going to let them continue to go for, you know, a couple more hours, and then I'll come back out and check on them. And here's some of the red cherries and the failed tiny Mr. Stripey's dehydrating. They're beautiful. They'll look beautiful in a mason jar, just sitting on your counter. Anyway, let me close this back up so we don't lose our heat. Hope y'all are enjoying Vlogust. Well, that's about it. Still gonna have the tomatoes dehydrating for a little while longer. We did the core and score and freeze your tomatoes method, so hopefully these are 2 ways that you could preserve your tomatoes as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you here next time at the Blackpack Homestead. Smarella, goodbye, God bless, we love you, and take care.